Good afternoon, everybody. It is Saturday, November 21st, and it is a gorgeous summer-like day here on the southeastern coast of North Carolina. And today, I want to teach you how to save your own pepper seed and overwinter it and store it so you can use it to grow free pepper plants the next season. Now, I want to preface this video by saying I'm not a big seed saver personally. I order almost all of my seeds from seed companies, but one thing I make an exception for is this pepper plant right here because I don't know what it is, and I brought it back with me from the island of Martinique. I brought one pepper home with me, and I saved the seed, and I've been growing them for 3 seasons, and they're just fantastic. So the only way I can keep growing this pepper plant is to save the seed year after year. But luckily, the good news is pepper seed is one of the absolute easiest types of seed that you can save. So this procedure is going to be incredibly simple, and if you grow a lot of open pollinated and heirloom peppers, this is a great way to save money with spending very little of your time. And that brings me to my very first point, and one thing that you have to understand when it comes to saving seed, you can only save seed from open pollinated varieties. And for the purposes of this video, anything labeled an heirloom is also open pollinated. So what is an open pollinated variety? An open pollinated variety is a variety of seed that growers, that breeders really, have saved and grown in isolation long enough and grown over generation to generation to the point where if you plant the seeds inside of that plant, almost every single seed is going to come up identically. So this right here is an open pollinated variety. If I cut open one of the seed pods and I plant 100 seeds, I'm going to get 100 pepper plants that are almost identical. There will be ever so slight variations, but the fruit is going to be so similar, you are not really going to notice the difference. Now that we've gone over that, you need to understand that you cannot plant seed from hybrid varieties. So if you see anything labeled hybrid or F1 hybrid, you can't really save that seed. So all an F1 hybrid is that a breeder decided that, hey, I like this pepper and I like this pepper. I want to combine them together to get the traits of both parent peppers. So when you buy that hybrid pepper seed, because the cross was controlled, all of the seeds in that packet are going to be very similar and close to identical. However, that variety is not stabilized. So if I were to grow out the seeds in that hybrid packet and I were to cut open a pepper pod and save 100 seeds and I were to plant all 100 of those seeds, I would get 100 different pepper plants that were some kind of cross between the original parents, but they're not going to line up. And the way you can think about that is, we as humans are basically F1 hybrids of our parents. If you take mom and dad and you get 3 siblings, those 3 siblings are all going to share traits similar to mom and dad, and they're all going to be genetically more similar to each other than some random person on the street. However, all 3 siblings are still going to be different people, and that's what you're going to get when you plant a hybrid pepper. You're going to basically get a whole bunch of siblings to the mom and dad parents, but they're all going to be different. So that's why you don't save hybrid pepper seed. The second thing you need to know when it comes to saving pepper seed is that you need to save the seed from mature peppers. So in front of me is my pepper plant, and you'll notice that the pepper plants have peppers in various stages of ripeness. When they are young, they start off as green, like they are right here, and then they take on a red hue when they are ripe. And then when they start to get overripe, they start to get leathery, like these two are. These peppers are actually getting a leathery texture to them. And these are the ideal peppers that you want to save seed from, because the seeds in those pepper pods are mature. When it comes to the green peppers right here, because they are not fully mature yet, not all of the seed inside of these peppers are viable. There's a good chance that that seed is completely infertile or only has a handful of individual seeds in there that have matured to the point where they will actually germinate. Whereas a pepper pod like this that has started to wrinkle up and get leathery and is about to fall off the pepper plant, that pepper is mature. So most of the seeds, if not all of the seeds in there, are going to have the ability to germinate. So think of it like this. Pepper plants have to produce seed in order to proliferate the species. So they need to reseed themselves. Well, green peppers like this do not fall off the tree. They don't fall off until they're ripe. So we wouldn't really expect those seeds to be viable. On the other hand, seeds like these that are red and ripe and ready to fall off, we would expect them to be viable. So it's when the peppers fall off the tree that they are then able to have mature seed that are able to reseed themselves. And that's how the plants proliferate. They drop their fruits only when they're ripe because that's when the seed is good. So actually, when it comes to the peppers that are laying on the ground, you know that they're pretty much ready to go in terms of the seed when they fall off on their own, since that's when peppers reseed themselves. So we're actually going to go ahead and we are going to pick up all of these peppers that have fallen off on their own, because we're almost guaranteed that these are mature seeds in here. And I know what you might be thinking, well, peppers are actually often spread by birds, and that's true, but the only seeds that the bird excretes out and spreads that will germinate are the seeds that they eat from mature peppers. So if the birds are pecking at these green peppers, they're going to eat a lot of seed that isn't going to germinate when they spread it all over the area. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go and I'm going to pick these really red peppers that are turning leathery and about to fall off, and we're going to get our seeds out of there, as well as the peppers that have fallen on the ground. And here are our beautiful chilies. They are all red and ripe, and they should be just perfect for extracting the seeds with a decent germination rate. Now, one tip I want to give you is to wear gloves in this process, especially if you are cutting hot peppers, because you are going to be handling the seed, and the seed sticks on the membrane where the compound called capsaicin is. That's what causes a nervous system reaction when you eat hot peppers. So although the seeds do not produce the capsaicin, they sit on that membrane, so they are covered with that spicy oil. Even if you are cutting sweet peppers, I still recommend that you wear gloves, because you are going to get your skin oils all over the seeds, and that is not necessarily a good thing. So if you wear latex or vinyl gloves, you will not get any spicy oils on your hands, and you will not get skin oils on the seed, and that is good. So what we need to do is we are going to remove all of the seed, we are going to remove all the tops of the peppers. But before I get too far into that, I want to show you what these peppers look like. So I'm going to cut one open and section it, and you can see how the seeds, they sit on this little membrane here. So what we're going to do is we're going to take the seeds out, and we're going to break them off that membrane, and we are going to place them on, this is a stainless steel cookie sheet that is covered in parchment paper. And I'm going to use the parchment paper because it's non-stick and the seeds will not stick to the parchment paper. I'm going to use that instead of wax paper, but you could also use wax paper too if you want to. And here we have all of our seeds that are laid out on the tray. When it comes to pepper seeds, some pepper seeds will release very easy from the membrane, but obviously this variety did not release easily from the membrane. As you can see, there are little chunks of red everywhere. And that's because these peppers are fresh and they're a juicy type of pepper. If they were a pepper that would be easily air dried, you could do that and then you could release the seeds after they have somewhat air dried. But these peppers probably won't dry too well. So what I have right here is I have a little Pyrex container of lukewarm water. So I'm going to take these and I'm going to put them inside this Pyrex container. And here you can see all of the seeds in this container. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put this hopefully airtight lid on, and I'm going to shake it vigorously to try and shake the seeds off of the membrane. And now I'm going to wait for the seeds to sink to the bottom and the pulp all to float to the top. And a lot of the large chunks of membrane floated to the top, so I was able to manually remove them. So the big chunks are mostly gone. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this tea strainer and I'm going to pass the seeds through it. And then I'm just going to lightly blow them off with the faucet. And then after they've been sifted dry, I'm just going to spread them out on this paper towel to try and get the bulk of the water out. And then we are going to drop the seeds back onto the parchment paper. And then we are going to break them up and spread them around. And then we are going to let them air dry in a cool, dark place with no direct sunlight, preferably a corner that doesn't see any sunlight at all. And we're going to leave them there for a couple of days just to dry out. And here we are 5 days later. My Martinique pepper seeds have been sitting right here on this parchment paper drying out, and every day I would just come by and I would run my hand through, kind of go like this, just to sort of flip them over a little bit and expose all sides to the air to dry out. And as you can see from this zoom in shot, most of the red pepper membrane has dehydrated and is pretty much dried up and isn't really a big issue anymore. Now, one thing that you'll notice off to the side is that I have this little Jiffy greenhouse on a heating mat, and I put 20 seeds in here because I'm just going to do a germination test. And we'll check back in about 2 or 3 weeks, and basically out of the 20 seeds, how many comes up is going to be my rough percentage of germination. So it's just a little number so we understand how viable these pepper seeds are. But for all intents and purposes, these seeds are now dry and they are ready for storage. So what you can do is you can either place them in a little glass like this, like a little mason jar, or some other type of airtight jar, and you can put the pepper seeds in there, or you can purchase something like these little poly Ziploc zipper bags, and you can place the seeds in there as well. And all you have to do is store them in a cool, dry place in total darkness, like a cool, dry closet where there won't be any light at all. And in general, seeds can store for anywhere for about 2 to 3 years and still remain viable. And that is how you save pepper seeds. Everybody, thank you so much for watching today's video. If you found it helpful, please hit that like button, and if you haven't already subscribed to the channel, please subscribe for future updates and more videos like these. If you're curious about anything I use in my garden, everything that I use is linked in my Amazon storefront in the video description. Thank you all so much for watching, and I hope to see all of you again on the next video.
Uh-oh, somebody got his bully make box. That can only mean something good. Can you figure out how to open that, buddy? Do you know how? Oh, he really wants in. Oh, what if let's try to pull this open. Wonder what's in here. I almost got it. Oh, hold on. Oh no! Oh no! What is he getting at? Oh, he found his new toy! He found his new toy! Oh, ooh, that's pretty. That's rainbow colored. Oh, somebody's excited.